Children often blame themselves for family problems because the human mind tries to create meaning out of emotional chaos. A child depends completely on the family environment for safety, stability, and emotional understanding during development. When conflict, tension, or emotional pain enters that environment, the child searches desperately for an explanation internally. Because children have limited understanding of adult problems, they often conclude that they themselves caused the situation somehow. Young children naturally see themselves as the center of their world psychologically. Their brains are still developing the ability to understand complex adult emotions, relationships, and external pressures fully. When parents argue, separate, or become emotionally distant, the child cannot process all the real reasons behind it. Instead, the mind creates simpler explanations that usually place responsibility onto the child personally. A child may believe that bad behavior, poor grades, emotional needs, or mistakes caused family conflict somehow. Even small events can become emotionally connected to major problems happening around them internally. If parents fight after a child misbehaves, the brain may link the two experiences together permanently. The child quietly begins carrying guilt for situations that were never their responsibility to begin with. Children also absorb emotional energy from the people around them very deeply. They notice tension, silence, anger, stress, disappointment, and emotional distance, even when adults say nothing directly. Because they cannot fully understand what is happening, uncertainty creates fear inside the developing mind naturally. Blaming themselves sometimes feels emotionally safer than accepting that adults may be unstable or out of control. The idea that parents are struggling because of adult issues can feel terrifying to a child emotionally. Children need to believe caregivers are strong, dependable, and capable of keeping life safe and stable consistently. If parents appear emotionally overwhelmed or disconnected, the child's sense of security becomes deeply threatened internally. Blaming themselves creates the illusion that the situation can somehow be fixed through better behavior or effort. This self-blame often becomes stronger in emotionally unpredictable households. In homes filled with shouting, criticism, addiction, neglect, or unstable behavior, children constantly search for ways to restore peace. The brain starts believing that becoming better might stop the conflict or emotional pain around them. The child develops an unhealthy sense of responsibility for emotions and problems they never created. Some parents unintentionally encourage self-blame through certain words or behaviors. A stressed parent may say things like, "You are making my life harder," during emotional moments of frustration. Even if spoken impulsively, statements like this carry enormous psychological weight for a developing child's mind. The child absorbs these messages deeply because parental words strongly shape identity and emotional understanding during development. Divorce is one of the clearest examples of children blaming themselves for family problems. Many children secretly believe their behavior caused their parents to separate or stop loving each other emotionally. The child may replay moments of disobedience or conflict while searching for where things went wrong internally. Without reassurance and honest communication, guilt quietly grows inside the child over time. Children are also highly sensitive to emotional withdrawal from parents or caregivers. If adults become distant, depressed, angry, or emotionally unavailable, children often assume they are the reason somehow. The developing brain naturally connects emotional disconnection to personal failure or inadequacy inside the family system. The child begins feeling responsible not only for problems, but also for fixing everyone emotionally around them. In families where parents fight constantly, children may become emotional caretakers very early in life. They try to calm arguments, keep peace, avoid causing trouble, or emotionally support overwhelmed adults constantly. This creates a dangerous belief that love and safety depend on managing other people's emotions successfully. As adults, these children often struggle with anxiety, people-pleasing, and unhealthy responsibility in relationships later on. Children who experience neglect often blame themselves instead of recognizing parental failure realistically. It feels emotionally easier to believe I am not lovable enough than to accept emotional abandonment from caregivers. The brain protects attachment by preserving the image of the parent whenever possible during childhood development. As a result, shame gets directed inward while the child continues craving love and connection externally. Another reason children blame themselves is because they desperately want control over painful situations emotionally. If the child caused the problem, then maybe behaving differently could fix it somehow in the future. Accepting that some situations are outside their control feels far more frightening and emotionally overwhelming internally. Self-blame creates an illusion of control, even though it quietly damages self-worth over time. Children are naturally loyal to their families, even in unhealthy environments, emotionally. They often defend parents internally, while directing anger, confusion, or disappointment toward themselves instead. The child protects emotional attachment because survival depends on maintaining connection with caregivers psychologically. This survival instinct can cause deep guilt and distorted self-perception that lasts long into adulthood. The effects of childhood self-blame often continue far beyond childhood itself. Adults who blamed themselves for family problems may struggle with chronic guilt and emotional responsibility later in life. They often apologize excessively, fear conflict intensely, or believe they are burdens to other people emotionally. The nervous system stays trapped in patterns formed while trying to keep childhood environments emotionally stable. Many of these adults also become highly sensitive to rejection and disappointment from others. Because they once felt responsible for emotional pain within the family, they fear causing harm constantly. Even normal disagreements may trigger deep anxiety because the brain expects blame and emotional instability automatically. The child's survival patterns quietly continue operating long after the original environment has disappeared externally. Self-esteem is often deeply affected when children grow up carrying emotional blame unfairly. The person may develop a lasting belief that they are difficult, problematic, or emotionally damaging to others somehow. This creates insecurity in friendships, romantic relationships, and even professional environments later in adulthood. The mind keeps searching for evidence that confirms the old belief of being the problem internally. One painful reality is that many children never hear the reassurance they truly needed emotionally. No one clearly explains that adult conflicts, stress, addiction, financial problems, or emotional struggles are not their fault. Without that reassurance, the child builds identity around guilt and responsibility for things beyond their control. The emotional weight becomes part of how they understand themselves and relationships throughout life. Healing begins when people recognize that childhood self-blame was a survival response, not objective truth. Children naturally try to make sense of emotional pain with the limited understanding they possess during development. The guilt they carried reflected confusion, fear, and the need for emotional security rather than actual responsibility. Understanding this can slowly separate personal worth from the chaos that existed inside the family environment. Adults healing from these experiences often need to relearn emotional boundaries and responsibility completely. It becomes important to understand that one person cannot carry the emotional weight of everyone around them constantly. Healthy relationships allow individuals to care about others without feeling responsible for fixing everything emotionally. The mind slowly heals when guilt stops controlling identity and emotional connection starts feeling safe again. Why children blame themselves for family problems is ultimately connected to how vulnerable and dependent childhood truly is. The developing mind searches for safety, explanation, and emotional stability in environments it cannot fully understand yet. When families become emotionally painful or unstable, children often turn confusion inward against themselves automatically. But the truth is that no child was ever meant to carry the burden of adult problems alone.